My name is Mark Sperling. I'm a physician. My title is Professor of Pediatrics in the Department of Pediatrics at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine and at the Children's Hospital Division of Pediatric Endocrinology. So the title of the book that I have the privilege of editing and being the editor of is called Pediatric Endocrinology, and I've been associated with that now for the past 20 or so years. I'm told that it is currently, at least in sales, the leading textbook of pediatric endocrinology in the English language. So I'm really honored, and I think the reason it's a successful book is that the authors for it, in my opinion, are the leaders of the field of pediatric endocrinology in the English-speaking world. They are the leaders certainly in this country, and there are about 24 chapters divided up into organ systems and also a little bit somewhat by age. But I also have authors who are not from the United States, who are from Canada, and who are from Britain, who contribute to this. And we've sort of tried to divide up the book to have sections on the basic aspects of what makes pediatric endocrinology or makes endocrinology a discipline, why it should be a separate book from a general endocrinology book. Secondly, we have about 5 chapters that deal with problems of endocrine disturbances in the newborn, low blood sugar, high blood sugar, thyroid problems, calcium problems, and problems of sexual development. And we feel that's important because there are a lot of babies born in this country every year, and we want the neonatologists rather than the endocrinologists to be aware of how to handle these situations as soon as they come about. I wanted to be a pediatrician, even though I'm told by my teachers at the time, I was told by my teachers at the time, they had a slot reserved for me in the surgical program. They thought I would make a surgeon, but I chose pediatrics. During the stages of the training in pediatrics, I chose to do an extra year as in the Department of Pathology. And there were 4 rotations in that, and I actually was very attracted to the field of biochemistry. I found it very logical. This was at a time when we didn't have the tools that we have today, like MRI and ultrasound and CT scans and molecular biology and measurements of various hormones. And the field was very, very logical. So for that reason, I was attracted to it. But the practical reason was that there wasn't a single pediatric endocrinologist in the whole city of Melbourne at the time that I decided to become an endocrinologist. And my plan was to come to the United States, to train in the field, and to go back and start a department back in Melbourne, Australia. That never happened. I came here for 2 years, and that was almost 40 years ago. I'm still here learning. There are some people who actually like to have a book in their hands. I'm one of them. I enjoy having a book and turning the pages. But it's not convenient to have a book in your hand as you're walking through the wards. On the other hand, you can log onto any computer, get onto the web, and if this book is on the web, people will be able to access the information. So that's one important principle, that at the bedside they'll be able to use it as a point of care, because we now have these portable computers that can go everywhere we go, to the bedside of the patient even, to look things up. But even more importantly is that space is limited in a print version, and it's less limited particularly with color photographs and prints of typical cases or atypical cases, or pathways of these metabolic pathways that we've been talking about, or the molecular basis of a problem. So much easier to put that on the web with a color prints and color photos. So we're very excited at having a e-version of this book that will be available to people, period. We do accumulate experience, and there's no substitute for that experience. But we also spend hours in the lab. Most of us have had research programs, and most of us have focused on a specific subsection of pediatric endocrinology in which we've gained some expertise. And as I mentioned to you, One reason the book, I believe, is a success is that I've been fortunate enough to recruit the top authorities in the field to do it. Legacy, I must tell you, I couldn't think of a better legacy, because to have the leading textbook of any subject and to be known as Sperling's Pediatric Endocrinology is something that I could have never dreamed of. I think it's a wonderful legacy to leave.